Hello, guys. I am Shane Davis, 20-year comic book veteran. I'm here with Yanzi Lynn once again, and we're talking comic book news as Marvel and DC are digging deep in the couch cushions. Get a little bit of chocolate, get a little bit of peanut butter. You put it together, and you end up with Deadpool Batman. Now, this is a no-brainer hit. I will tell you right now, this will be top of the sales chart, probably. Absolutely. Why not? Why wouldn't it be, right? You got Grant Morrison involved. You got Greg Capullo. You got Zeb Wells, who I don't know if anybody, nice enough guy, I think, but I'm not sure he's the star power. He might be the lowest common name here. But he is a go-to guy at Marvel for writing books. But this is a no-brainer. This absolutely no-brainer. This is going to the bank to make that money. And my only question really is at the end of this is why did it take bankruptcy in the American comic book industry to get here? But we'll get into it. If you guys will, please look down below, hit like, subscribe, ring the bell for notification as we do try to go through the comic book news, pop culture news, and sorts. So let's get into it.
Now I'm going to go ahead and call it right now. This book is going to outsell the highly anticipated Hush 2 from Jim Lee and Jeff Lopes. Okay, it's totally going to outsell that. No question about it.
Speaking about that, I really don't hear too many people talking about Hush 2, which is very alarming. I'm not sure it's performing the way DC wanted it to be. And before people go, nuh-uh, Shane, the numbers say DC Comics was giving retailers who ordered X amount bundles of those books at cost, like almost like $1.50 a book or something like that. Like you're buying a new comic book day book. The market is flooded with Hush. Just saying.
All right. So for people who don't know, there's a slight timeline event we have to go through before we get into this. So back in February, we had the announcement of the Diamond Comic distributor bankruptcy filings. And then at the end of February, we had the Comic Pro event in California, whereby they basically had to tell everybody, hold your horses, we're not going anywhere. Salvation is coming.
Right.
And apparently this is the salvation. So Marvel and DC is like, oh my gosh, nobody has any trust in the dark market anymore. We better put something that will get people back into the comic shops. And this is what they came up with.
Now, for the normies, Comic Pro, just so you understand, is an event for retailers, not guys off the street. It's usually done at a large enough banquet hall or something like that, or a hotel lobby or something like that, where retailers go in, no reporters, for the most part. I think they sneak in sometimes, but it's usually to hear grievances with retailers, but also the publishers talk to retailers about what they're getting ready to do in the upcoming year. And they do try to lure these guys in with bait, usually like limited edition variant covers to help them sell them on eBay, make up for the cost of going and giving their time. And it is kind of a probe in a way that the publisher actually gets to talk with the comic book retailers and get some feedback, and hopefully they help each other make more money. Now, with the news of doing a crossover event, with CB Cebulski and a rep, I can't remember right now, from DC. It was really odd that they said that they had no creative teams, that they were just coming up together with it. And at the time, I remember specifically, they said it'd at least be 4 issues. Now, I read it as it would be like what we come to expect, a Justice League versus Avengers. You know, Marvel prints 2 books, DC prints 2 books, and they make the money they make, and it would be a big event. Then this comes out. Now, this is Deadpool Batman, published by Marvel, and then there will be a Batman-Deadpool that's printed by DC. Now, this kind of makes me remember the Spawn Batman crossover in a way, but I feel like we're going to see a lot of this in going into 2026. I would go as far to assume that they're going to do things like, say, Spider-Man, Superman, Wonder Woman, Captain Marvel, because Marvel won't let that character go. Things like that. Maybe Green Lantern, Silver Surfer. I don't know, something. Maybe Green Lantern Corps, Fantastic Four, whatever. That's what I imagine we're going to get out of this. Now, the real thing is, how do these events seem to line up? And do you believe in coincidence that the American comic book industry is going through and dealing with bankruptcy, financial woes? Comic shops are closing down. I've had a couple around me go down recently. And, Diamond's it basically telling people that they're not going to get their money, publishers. So make money. Do something to make the money you're probably losing.
Now, it's interesting, though, when Jim Lee talked about this news announcement, he actually mentioned very specifically that we have this stuff cooking 2 to 3 years in advance. Now, I don't really believe that just because of the way all these sequence of events happened. And we know that Dan Mora and Greg Capullo are both workhorses. They're very fast artists when it comes to that. They can probably pump out the book within 2 months each. All right. So I don't think that's a problem. I don't think there's any truth to Jimmy saying we've been cooking this for years. Okay, then where were you before Diamond went bankrupt? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't buy that either. I've worked in the industry for over 20 some years. A 2-issue book series can be cooked up in 6 weeks. It can. The paperwork just has to be drawn up by both companies. The fact that both companies are publishing and handling the art cost, the print bill on each individual issue, very easy breezy. There you guys go. The biggest headache is reprinting this stuff. And to be honest, they can always figure that out down the road if they even want to. Hence, that amalgam thing that they recently printed all that stuff that they had done back in the 90s. I would say they got cozy with each other reprinting that stuff. And to be honest, that stuff is really easy to figure out. We just split the money. That's it. 50-50 split. 50-50 billing, And again, they've already settled this. You print this book, I print this book. They go together. Maybe they don't. Who knows? Back in the 90s when they did Spawn Batman crossover, those 2 books really didn't cross over with one another. It's not a big thing. These things used to happen back in the day. I actually will go as far to say Jim Lee's actually lying on it. I really believe that, because if this was a bigger event that was maybe 6 issues, 8 issues, 12 issues, I would say yes. Yes, they need the lead time for the artist that's doing all of this, but it's not. Even in these 2 books here, there's 2 different artists drawing them. They don't need that much time. This was cooked up on the fly. Now, there might be a bigger book that we don't know about yet, but I doubt that. I really do. I don't know who they would put on that big book. Actually, Greg Capullo is probably the biggest artist I've heard so far on this project altogether. Now, this is all coming at a time when on the same day, same news, Diamond tells publishers about outstanding invoices and future payments. Basically, anything before May 15th is under bankruptcy law and won't be paid by the new owners.
Well, that pretty much means that all the money that Diamond owes, including the $10 million almost they owe to Penguin or something, they're not going to be, the new owners, which is Ad Populum, is not going to be responsible for it. Instead, you got to take it up with the bankruptcy people and so on and so forth. So I guess the long and short of it is that there's no timeline for you getting the money from before May 15th if it was due. And maybe there's no timeline at all because, who knows how they will divvy it up and say that, yeah, you know what, you only get 2 cents or something out of the $2,000 or whatever.
Now, that might not seem like big news to Marvel and DC. Everybody's going to say in the comments section they already moved on to their deals with Penguin Random House. Shane, this isn't the biggest deal. Diamond going under is not going to be the end of the American comic book industry. Marvel and DC will be just fine. Yes and no, because there are comic shops that basically Diamond said that they were sending debt collectors after. And I have the theory, and I don't really think this is being talked about too much, and nobody's really going to be vocal about it. But Diamond going bankrupt, one, it doesn't make the American comic book mom and pop shop, the direct market, feel stable. So a lot of people were coming around the age of retiring and shutting down their shop. It's not really giving a lot of confidence to anybody opening up a shop. right? Because bankruptcy by Diamond just sounds bad all around. It doesn't sound good. Marvel and DC running to Penguin Random House doesn't sound great, because no comic book shop thinks like, oh, Penguin Random House, they're going to take care of me. No comic shop really feels that way. Penguin Random House services usually their competitor, which is like big brick and mortar bookstores like Barnes and Noble and Books A Million and things like that. So just from the mentality of the retailer, none of this has been great. And that's where the Marvel DC stuff comes in. That's to pump up morale in retail. It's supposed to make you guys go, hey, you guys been begging for this for years. Yeah, go to the bank. Guess what, guys? Hang in there. There's, something on the oasis here. You can see it. Maybe it's a mirage, maybe it's not, but hang in there. You're almost there. Big money at the end of the rainbow here. And it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird, the timing of events here. But to say this isn't having an effect on the comic market, I think is doing itself a really big disservice. And I hate talking about it, to be honest, because a lot of people, don't want to talk about it. It's negative. And that, I don't know, it hurts. It hurts because there's a lot of comic shops, retailers I've been friends with. I understand the pains they go through and waiting for Marvel and DC to give them something that actually sells, something that they can actually turn into cash money, something that actually brings customers into their stores. I feel like there really hasn't been an event since like maybe Avengers versus X-Men or the New 52 that really brought people into comic shops like that. And it's been far too long. Qualifying covers, SJW comics, diversity comics that nobody really wants, but you're pressured into to buying them through Pride Month or White Guilt or whatever. And here we are. Batman-Deadpool, guys, will make money. Let's not worry about the community. Let's not worry about Pride Month. Let's not worry about all our gay characters punching a Nazi. Let's not worry about that. Let's actually make something that will sell, and let's actually get both companies together to do it. I hate to say it. It's like desperate times call for desperate measures. You could argue maybe Diamond would be in a different boat if this had happened years prior. And the idea that this is only the tip of the iceberg of this crossover, Batman-Deadpool, and you could end up, I don't know, Iron Man, Green Lantern. You could do this all day and come up with a million books that fans want to see. That is fan service, which arguably is what the American comic book industry is there for, to service fans, not to service, propaganda, not to service what month that we're celebrating. That's what the calendar's for. It's really weird. It's really weird. Is it too little, too late? I think this book will do great, obviously. But the weird thing about this type of event happening at this time is it can only sell as well as the shops that are still open to carry it. Now, it could do great, but if we're operating at less stores the month it comes out than if a year ago, 2 years ago, before COVID, it can only flow as much through the pipes that are available for it to flow. The distribution model, look, digital's never really taken off. I'm sure this thing will sell gangbusters if it's collected and it's put up on trade, but it'll probably only get one small printing. I don't think Marvel and DC will keep this in print forever. So this type of book is really meant to be like a monthly selling injection of cash. And we haven't yet seen all the variant covers that'll be for this. And and I know there'll probably be like 100 covers for both books. So this thing will make so much money. And that's not even to say, Yanzi's like, well, why these two characters teaming up? And I said, they're the most merchandisable. Deadpool merchandise is probably at its all-time high. And Deadpool appeals to kids and it appeals to adults. So arguably more merchandisable, maybe even more so than Spider-Man. I don't know. That's debatable. Batman, obviously one of the most merchandisable superheroes in our generation. This thing is built to sell. Let's hope it does, because if it doesn't, That's the biggest black eye I've seen in my entire life in the American comic book industry. If you guys will hit like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. Also, if you haven't, please go check out Anatomic. We are taking signups for this and hopefully launching soon. You will be able to get a lenticular card and secret tier with sign up. All you got to do is go over here to 9 Lives Comics and sign up on our page, or you can sign up on Indiegogo. We are launching on both platforms, and there might be some little secret for the people that sign up. Cover that you can only buy, maybe, don't hold me to it, but maybe a cover you can only buy when you're on that pre-launch list, which is where you want to get that lenticular card with purchase. Also, I'll leave you guys with a trailer for this smash hit comic prequel coming to the world of Inglorious Rex. Welcome to Anatomic.
If fighting was a god, I would worship him. I would bow to him. I would pray for victory. For he only grants opportunities. But behind every god lurks a devil. And the devil wants me to take a dive. My name is Anatomic. And this is how my legend was made.